Welcome to Team Jade's presentation on building supply chain resilience, where we'll explore a case study of Ford Motor Company and its response to the global semiconductor shortage. In today's interconnected world, even a disruption in one key component can ripple through the entire supply chain. This story will highlight how Ford navigated one of the most significant challenges the auto industry has faced in recent history, from understanding the issue at hand to implementing innovative strategies for recovery. We'll explore it all. Let's walk you through today's agenda. We'll start with an overview of Ford Motor Company, its role in the automotive world, and its market segments. Then we'll dive into the global semiconductor shortage, how it originated, and its impact across the automotive industry. From there, we'll zoom in on Ford and how this shortage disrupted their production and financial performance. Following that, we'll discuss Ford's responses to the crisis, both immediate and long-term, and compare their strategy with how other automakers fared. Finally, we'll wrap up by looking at Ford's new strategy, moving forward, and link it to the key core concepts, such as supply chain resilience and sustainability. So let's get started. Founded in 1903 by Henry Ford, the company revolutionized the automotive industry by making cars affordable for the average person. The introduction of the Model T in 1908 marked the first mass-produced car, and Ford pioneered the moving assembly line in 1913, making mass production more efficient. By the 1920s, Ford had expanded globally, establishing itself as a major automotive player. In the 1930s, they introduced the V8 engine, and during World War II, Ford shifted to producing military vehicles, contributing to the war effort. The 1950s through the 1960s saw the launch of iconic models like the Ford Mustang, symbolizing American automotive culture. Through the 1970s and 80s, Ford adapted to market changes, focusing on fuel-efficient vehicles and introducing the best-selling Ford Taurus in 1986. In the 2000s, they navigated the global shift towards more efficient cars with the introduction of the Ford Escape Hybrid. Today, Ford is focused on electric vehicles like the Mustang Mach-E and the F-150 Lightning, continuing its legacy of innovation and adapting to the future of transportation. Today, Ford operates through three key business segments, each playing an important role in shaping the company's diverse and future-ready portfolio. First, we have Ford Blue, which focuses on Ford and Lincoln's internal combustion and hybrid vehicles. This segment carries forward the company's legacy in the traditional automotive market, offering a wide range of vehicles from fuel-efficient sedans to powerful trucks. It's all about providing reliable, high-performance vehicles for customers who value quality and dependability. Next is Ford Model E, dedicated to the electric vehicle segment, the future of the auto industry. This segment is where Ford is making major strides in sustainable mobility by focusing on electric powertrains, advanced software, and cutting-edge technology. Ford Model E is playing a key role in the transition to a more eco-friendly future, while also positioning Ford as a leader in the rapidly expanding EV market. Lastly, we have Ford Pro, which serves commercial, government, and fleet customers. This segment is all about helping businesses operate more efficiently with customized fleet services. Whether it's vehicle maintenance, telematics, or optimizing operations, Ford Pro delivers tailored solutions that help companies save time and reduce costs, allowing them to focus on what matters most. Together, these three segments ensure that Ford remains not only competitive, but also a leader in both traditional and emerging vehicle markets. Ford Motor Company is a true global powerhouse with over 171,000 employees across more than 100 countries, ensuring its presence is felt in diverse markets around the world. The company's manufacturing and assembly plants are strategically located in North and South America, Europe, and Asia, enabling efficient global operations and customer service. In 2024, Ford and Lincoln together sold over 4.47 million vehicles globally, a testament to its widespread success. But while these numbers are impressive, what truly sets Ford apart is its remarkable ability to adapt. Over its 120-year history, Ford has consistently pivoted in response to market demands and global trends, whether it was pioneering mass production or leading the shift to electric vehicles. This continuous adaptability has been key to Ford's sustained leadership, even in the face of challenges like the global semiconductor shortage. To understand the impact of the semiconductor shortage, it's important to first grasp what semiconductors are and why they're so critical. A semiconductor is a material that can conduct electricity under specific conditions, but not others, essentially acting as a switch. This property makes them the backbone of modern electronics, powering everything from the smartphones in our pockets to the computers that run industries, and crucially, the vehicles that we drive. Semiconductor manufacturing is a highly complex and time-consuming process. The production involves several intricate steps like photolithography, deposition, and etching, each requiring specialized equipment and highly precise conditions. Additionally, building a new semiconductor fabrication plant is an expensive and lengthy process, often taking years to complete. This makes it difficult to rapidly increase production when demand spikes unexpectedly. Semiconductors are especially critical for the automotive industry. As vehicles become smarter and more connected, the demand for chips has surged. Modern vehicles now rely on hundreds, even thousands of chips to function, driving everything from safety systems to entertainment features. This shift became a major challenge for automakers like Ford, who were suddenly faced with severe production delays as they struggled to secure enough chips to complete their vehicles. The shortage highlighted the vulnerabilities in the semiconductor supply chain, particularly those in sectors like automotive, which weren't initially prepared for such an increase in demand. Moreover, the global semiconductor supply chain is vulnerable to disruption. Many of the raw materials and equipment required for manufacturing are sourced from specific regions, and any interruption, whether due to geopolitical tensions or factory shutdowns, can cause significant delays. The semiconductor shortage that began during the COVID-19 pandemic was a result of several converging factors. As millions of people shifted to remote work, the demand for consumer electronics, particularly computers, tablets, and other devices, spiked. Meanwhile, semiconductor production faced significant disruptions, with factory shutdowns and limited production capacity slowing down output. To make matters worse, many companies, particularly in China, increased their orders, further straining an already fragile supply chain. Additionally, the semiconductor industry was particularly strained as many companies prioritized chips for consumer electronics over automotive chips, which led to the severe backlog in vehicle production. The shortage has underscored just how crucial semiconductors are to our modern world and how dependent industries like automotive manufacturing are on a stable and efficient supply chain. The semiconductor shortage's impact on Ford was profound, affecting production schedules, financial performance, and the availability of key models. By May 2021, Ford had to make the tough decision to close multiple plants, including its flagship Chicago assembly plant, which hit the production of their popular F-150 and Edge models hard. Perhaps the most visible effect of the shortage was the backlog of vehicles sitting in parking lots. Even as Ford's factories continued to churn out cars, a lack of semiconductors meant they couldn't be completed, leaving thousands of unfinished vehicles waiting for chips to arrive. The financial toll was significant. Ford projected a $3 billion loss in 2021 alone due to these disruptions. Models like the F-150, a key revenue generator for Ford, saw production reductions, with some models even down-spec'd to ensure that production could continue. The Mustang, another iconic Ford model, was delayed as its assembly plant was temporarily shuttered, and the delays affected Ford's overall market position. Ford's response to the semiconductor crisis was swift and multifaceted. In the immediate term, Ford focused on prioritizing production of its most profitable models, like the F-150 and Mustang, while temporarily adjusting its production schedules. This helped them minimize financial losses in the short term. Additionally, Ford used an innovative strategy where they adjusted vehicle features to continue production. For example, some models were shipped with fewer features than planned, ensuring that the vehicles could still be delivered to customers, albeit with slight modifications. Long term, Ford realized that to mitigate such risks in the future, diversification was key. In 2021, Ford entered into a partnership with Global Foundries to secure a dedicated semiconductor supply line. This partnership was not only designed to ensure a more reliable chip supply, but also to support the growing demand for high-tech chips, like those used in advanced driver assistance systems and battery management systems. This focus on flexibility, both in the short and long term, has been crucial in helping Ford rebound and continue its operations amidst the ongoing challenges. It wasn't just Ford that felt the effects of the semiconductor shortage. All major automakers were impacted, though each responded differently. For instance, General Motors was forced to shut down most of its North American plants in 2021, leading to major production delays. However, General Motors managed to stay profitable in 2021 by reducing customer incentives and focusing on higher margin vehicles. Volkswagen also faced significant setbacks, missing out on the production of 1.15 million cars in 2021 alone. By late 2021, Volkswagen, like GM and Ford, had to temporarily close plants. Toyota, however, had prepared for such disruptions. With a well-stocked inventory of semiconductors, Toyota was able to continue production even as its competitors faltered. However, even Toyota wasn't immune, and by the end of 2021, they had to reduce production by 40%. In short, while every automaker faced challenges, those with a more resilient and proactive supply chain fared better. This has prompted a major shift in how automakers approach their supply chains, with many moving towards increased diversification and collaboration with suppliers. Let's take a look at how Ford is positioning itself for the future with key strategic moves that ensure resilience and innovation. Ford is strengthening its supply chain through strategic partnerships, such as its collaboration with Global Foundries to secure semiconductor production. This partnership allows Ford to gain more control over its semiconductor supply, helping mitigate disruptions that have impacted the industry and ensuring a more stable production process. In line with this, Ford is exploring onshoring semiconductor production, reducing its reliance on overseas suppliers. This strategic effort aims to mitigate risks and secure a more reliable, domestically sourced supply chain for the future. The company is also focusing on its most profitable businesses, concentrating on high-margin sectors like electric vehicles and commercial services. By streamlining operations, Ford can remain competitive while maximizing profitability. Ford is adjusting its approach to supply chain forecasting as well. Moving away from the traditional just-in-time model, the company is opting for longer-term contracts with semiconductor suppliers. This shift will help stabilize the supply of critical components and avoid potential disruptions in the future. Lastly, Ford is adopting a build-to-order model for high-demand vehicles like the Ford Mach-E, aligning production more closely with customer demand. This approach not only helps reduce excess inventory, but also supports cost savings and improves overall operational efficiency. By taking these steps, Ford is ensuring its readiness to meet the evolving demands of the automotive industry, balancing short-term agility with long-term stability. In this section, we'll connect key core concepts to Ford's response to the semiconductor shortage. These include supply chain resilience, sustainability, managing inventory, the score model, and the bullwhip effect, all of which provide valuable lessons on improving supply chain management. First, supply chain resilience. This refers to a supply chain's ability to adapt to disruptions and recover quickly. Ford's reliance on just-in-time manufacturing was a vulnerability during the semiconductor crisis. Ford adapted by securing long-term contracts and diversifying suppliers, making its supply chain more resilient. They also shifted toward more flexibility in production, enabling them to better manage disruptions. Sustainability isn't just environmental. It's about long-term stability. Ford's partnership with GlobalFoundries to secure a dedicated semiconductor supply is a key example of how they are making their supply chain more sustainable by reducing reliance on a few suppliers. By onshoring semiconductor production and diversifying suppliers, Ford is strengthening its resilience for the future. Managing inventory during the semiconductor shortage meant balancing production flexibility and cost efficiency. Ford prioritized high-demand, high-margin vehicles and shifted to a build-to-order model, reducing excess inventory and avoiding overproduction. This helped minimize the risk of inventory becoming a liability during a time of uncertainty. The SCORE model breaks down supply chain management into 5 key processes: plan, source, make, deliver, and return. Ford applied this framework as follows. Planning. They adjusted forecasting and worked on long-term contracts. Sourcing. Ford diversified suppliers and sought alternatives to Asia-based suppliers by onshoring. Make. Flexible production schedules were implemented with prioritization of key models. Deliver. Delivery was adjusted due to delays, but Ford maintained transparency with customers. In return, Ford's long-term planning efforts reduced future volatility. Finally, the bullwhip effect describes how small demand changes can lead to bigger disruptions up the supply chain. Ford's initial reduction in chip orders due to the pandemic caused a supply-demand misalignment, amplifying disruptions. To mitigate this, Ford is moving towards more stable long-term supply contracts to reduce the risk of future bullwhip effects. To sum it all up, Ford's approach during the semiconductor shortage aligns with key supply chain principles: resilience, sustainability, inventory management, and careful application of the SCORE model, and understanding the bullwhip effect. These strategies are helping Ford build a stronger, more adaptable supply chain for the future. Wrap up, the semiconductor shortage has been a wake-up call for the entire automotive industry, but Ford's proactive approach to supply chain resilience and adaptability has allowed them to recover more effectively than many others. Ford has learned valuable lessons about the importance of supplier diversification, long-term planning, and maintaining flexibility in the face of unexpected disruptions. These lessons will not only help Ford weather future supply chain challenges, but will also position them to thrive as the automotive industry continues to evolve, especially with the rise of electric vehicles and advanced technology. Thank you for joining us in exploring how Ford navigated one of the most significant global supply chain crises of our time.